the sports we enter. From downtown they shoot.
If I'm like a Kate Cunningham fan and I see he had 15 assists, I'm not thinking, I wonder if he had 0 turnovers. Like, I'm not thinking that. Like, from the 3-point threat with Grant
and Zay, what's up, y'all? Welcome, y'all.
let's take a second to appreciate the absolute clinic Tyrese Haliburton is putting on the season. We're talking about a guy
Tyrese Haliburton.
who is redefining what it means to be an elite, efficient playmaker while still getting his own buckets. The numbers are getting ridiculous, and when you stack them up to some of the all-time greats, it's clear Hallie just isn't having a good year. He's doing historic stuff. So let's get into it.
With the story of Tyrese Haliburton in this season, rough start, injuries, on and off playing, some questionable, decisions, kind of just losing hope a little bit, arguably depending on where you're at in there. But what we saw is a progression. We had a real slow start. We saw a progression. From then to especially since the All-Star game, which has been about 8 games, now we're getting back to historic 2023, 2024 Haliburton. You know what I mean? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, our offense and our success in general kind of runs through Haliburton.
Absolutely.
I think one of the craziest like Pacer stats I've come across like this season is when Haliburton scores 20 points, we're 19-2, which is not even that many points. Like, if he just kind of shows up and like plays, we're probably going to win that game, which is honestly pretty crazy.
It's pretty crazy. 20 points from your Supermax All-Star is not a lot to ask for either.
That's I think where Haliburton gets a lot of the hate. And when I was beefing with my cousin and my brother, they're trying to, put him down because like his stats aren't necessarily like eye popping, but his biggest attribute that makes him this like superstar all NBA guy is his efficiency.
Yes.
Yeah, he only scores about 20%, but he's shooting like 50, 40, almost like 90. Yeah, he's only getting like 9 assists when last year he was like getting like 11 or 12 or something.
Right.
But his turnover rate is like 5.2 to 1. Trae Young has like 13 assists a game.
Right.
Tyrese Haliburton is averaging 1.7 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
Trae Young is averaging 5.3 turnovers.
Yeah.
So it's easy when people vote for the All-Star to look, oh, well, Trae Young has more points and he has more assists. He's the better player. But if you're looking just like a little deeper, 5 turnovers, that's 5 extra chances the other team gets to score.
Yeah.
Where Haliburton only gives the other team 1 extra chance to score.
I mean, look at it too. Trae Young and LaMelo are cool players too. People like them. Kids love them. They're fun to watch. They're flashy. Tyrese is not any of that. Let's be real. He not to say he's not. Of course, he has this moment, especially when he's being aggressive and heating up. He's fun to watch. But on any given game, you're not like, whoa. It just is what it is. And I love Tyrese. I love him.
I mean, for the big thing that I keep seeing like the debate about, which I think is absolutely ridiculous, but like people saying that Trae Young is like better, and I already kind of disproved that like a little bit. But another thing people kind of get like hung up on is he does take those like super deep threes, which is super eye popping and like super cool, blah blah blah. But he's also shooting 32%, and even with Tyrese's slow start, Tyrese is shooting almost 40%. That's 8 extra threes per 100 like shots. That makes like quite a bit of difference.
To go on your point, Tyrese, he what makes him good? He's a floor general. Well, he controls our offense with his assists, but he's a floor general. He's always looking for what's going on. He controls the pace of the game. He controls the pace of our offense. He's your coach's favorite point guard. He might not be the people's, but he's your coach's for sure.
Honestly, the perfect way to say it. He is actually, this is a crazy stat. He's the first player in NBA history to have 500 assists before 100 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Guards, I mean, if you look at the top 5 people who are getting assists, like Trae Young, James Harden, Kate Cunningham, LeBron, they're all getting a lot of assists.
Sure.
They're all getting over 4 turnovers a game.
Yeah.
Haliburton's less than like 2. Another big cool stat is if you look at, there's only one player who is top 5 in most assists per game and top 5 in assist to turnover ratio, and that's Haliburton.
Right.
The other player that's top 10 in both is Chris Paul.
Right.
The point god. nobody else is even like close to that type of range.
Chris Paul 2.0 and Steve Nash 3.0.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing too is Halliburton's so close being a household name in the sense of like his last 6 games, he had 12 assists, 15 assists, 11, 10, 12, and
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
All those games he had 1 turnover, except the last one he had 2. But imagine if he did all those same assists with 0 turnovers. I mean,
Which he was kind of doing last season a little bit.
Yeah, he's literally 1 turnover away each of those games. The talk of the town. Like,
Yeah. I'm
he
not
would
mad
be
at
the
one
talking point
turnover.
over everything. Yeah, I'm not either.
I'm not mad, bro.
It's almost funny because every single time, like at the end of the game, like I checked, the stats,
Yeah.
and I see he has like over like 10 assists, and I'm like, oh, please no turnovers.
Please
It's
no
always
turnovers. I
like,
do the same thing. I know.
yeah, I'm like, come on, no turnovers. It's always just like 1, so I'm like, I can't be mad. I
Yeah.
can't be mad at all.
Yeah. No, it's funny. That's a very much like us thing because I had the same thing. I'm like, please no.
We have the expectation that like he can do that. You
Yeah.
know, if I'm like a Kate Cunningham fan and I see he had 15 assists, I'm not thinking, I wonder if he had 0 turnovers. Like, I'm not thinking that. Like, Trae Young gets 20 assists. My first thought is, I wonder if he also had 0 turnovers.
Yeah.
Like, you're expecting 4, 5, 6, maybe even like 7 turnovers with
Right.
like that many assists. Let me give you the past 6 games that I just gave that with the assists of 12, 15, 11, 10, 12, 15, and then
Right.
basically 1 turnover each time.
Sure.
During that run, also, he's getting 24 points per game, 2.8 steals, and
Oh.
4 threes made per game. And this is where it gets really insane. All right. His shooting splits are 61% field goal, 59 from 3, and 100% from the free throw. This is ridiculous, dude.
That's all NBA.
Yes,
that's all NBA. Period.
I mean, no. I mean, honestly, if we're just talking about these 6 games, that's almost an MVP talks, except MVP will agree kind of goes
right
to like guys who score like 30 points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The assist to turnover ratios type of stuff, that doesn't really get
Well,
love,
look, don't forget last season he at one point he I think he reached like 6 in the MVP. When he was cooking, he was like, I think he reached 6, which is not an easy thing to do. Just for having a guy to be on the MVP ladder for even a day, to me, is a humongous accomplishment. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But you're right. You're on the money. Those are MVP numbers, man.
And I'll say too, like these past 6 games with his 3 steals per game, basically
that's crazy.
You can take one of those steals and take away a turnover each game. So he's basically getting all those assists and 2 steals per game. Like to have more steals than turnovers while you're throwing out this many assists, that's beyond special.
What he's locking in. That.
He's
locked in.
Dude, he's feeling it on defense. He's feeling it shooting. He's feeling it with his passing. Like there's not a weak point right now. Like this Haliburton goes into the playoffs. I'm expecting another Eastern Conference Finals
deep
run. Bare minimum.
Deep
bare minimum.
Run.
Call me crazy. If Haliburton is anywhere near this hot in the playoffs, we're finals bound. Sincerely. If he's anywhere near this hot, I'm not saying it'll be like easy. We're gonna get like 4-4-4 type of thing, but I think it's a very legitimate chance to challenge the Cavs or Celtics. So I want to get back on this turnover to assist ratio to like really dig in the point of like how special this is. Okay.
Yes.
So generally you would consider 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio good for like a ball dominant like point guard. I'll give you a good example of basically this of like Trae Young, who's like getting over 10 assists per game, but he's also getting like 5 turnovers per game.
Okay.
Right? And people would still consider him like a good like playmaker.
Right.
Magic Johnson finished with 2.87 for his career, peaking at 3.3. All right. John Stockton, the OG point guard, he had a career of 3.75. His best season was 4.1. All right. Haliburton 2 years ago beat John Stockton and Magic's best season with a 4.16. Last year, he got a 4.7. And then this year, he's at 5.2 with struggling hard at the beginning. Like it wasn't
That's so
just his
crazy.
shooting; everything was struggling
That's so
hard
crazy.
at the beginning. Had that struggle not happened, I mean, that's 25 games. Honestly, it could be in like the 6 or 7, which would just be like when I was looking through like the past years of like who led it. The only time I saw people with like 6 or 7 was like role players or like people who like average like 3 or 4 like assists, where you're
Right.
like more careful with it. You're not every single time trying to find the open guy. You're just like, oh, this guy's open, so I'm past him type of thing.
Right.
I didn't see any notable point guards who were over 5.
Yes. I mean, it's one of those things, like I said, he's a floor general, man. He's a quarterback.
Yeah.
You can pass it to a guy who's, or whatever the case is, but it's making that crafty pass, making that, that smart pass. It's making that pass that's accurate, but kind of, also kind of flinging it across, whatever. It's floor general stuff, man.
Haliburton just like never risky. He just like makes the smart, easy passes. And I fully disagree.
That's
I would say
insane.
at least 3 times a night he does a pass where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And like
Yes.
not all 3 of those passes go in. He'll make a pass to an open teammate that I'm just like, I wasn't even considering that was a possibility.
Tyrese Haliburton is genuinely one of the best passers in the league. I mean, obviously, in my opinion,
I think
number
he
one
is.
Jokic, huh?
I think he is. Jokic has the most turnovers.
I think Jokic is number one. I think LeBron is probably still top 5. I think Haliburton's top 3.
Let me tell you, in the assist to turnover ratio, LeBron or Jokic aren't in the top 11. No, you're honestly giving more fuel to the fire of like how great this is, because I'm fully with you. If you ask me like the best passers in the NBA, those are like 2 guys I would name as well. Like I said, 2 to 1 is good. 3 to 1 or whatever, like, oh, you like really like pushing it type
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, we think of like LeBron and Jokic as these great passers, and they are. But
Yeah.
Haliburton is just such leagues above. I think it's hands down. I literally don't think it's a debate at all. He's the best passer in the NBA.
Who were some other of these most efficient passers?
So Chris Paul is actually leading the list,
Okay.
but Chris Paul averages an assist less per game, 5.2 to 1 turnover. Haliburton's 5.1 with 1 extra pass a game.
Right.
So the number 3 in ratio is Jimmy Butler, 4.3, but he's not even in the top 15 in like assists. That's kind of like the people I was talking about earlier of like, yeah, I'm gonna pass it to Steph if he's like wide open or whatever, but I'm not like looking who's the best, type of thing. Yeah,
it's funny. I would have never guessed Jimmy.
Yeah, so this kind of proves my point of like how hard it is. Most of the top 11 I'm about to name are kind of like no names and kind of the same situation of like a Jimmy Butler. So after me, it's Mike Conley, Tyus Jones, Cameron Payne, Jose Alvarado, Miles McBride, Luke Cornett, Fred Van. Like
a bunch of like
supporting
cast guys, to be honest.
Exactly.
Yes.
So obviously,
so basically,
it's easier
between
for them.
Tyrese Haliburton and CP3, that's the conversation.
Yeah. I'm not even mad about old as CP3 because like that is like the point guard. Like I have so much respect for him. Even in his older years, that's one thing that like hasn't left. Like he is still an elite playmaker. It's January 1st. Haliburton has 232 assists to 39 turnovers. To 39 turnovers. 232 to 39. He almost has 200 more assists than turnovers since January 1st.
Yeah. I got a stat line for you. You want to hear it?
Yeah, hit me.
This is from Tuesday, okay? It says Tyrese Haliburton just made NBA history. He had one of the greatest 5-game stretches ever. You let me know if you agree. And nobody even batted an eye, which is obvious. But in the 5-game stretch, these are his stats. This is on Tuesday, right? 117 points, 60 assists, 5 turnovers, on 63% field goal, on 58% 3-point. What are we talking about?
Dude, like, yeah, this guy is a superstar.
That's not the best point guard in the league.
And I want to give credit where credit is due. I got this from Twitter from a guy named Wes Trueblood. All right.
Shout out.
So he said, Tyrese Haliburton is one of the greatest point guards we've ever seen.
Yes.
Since 2000, a player recording at least 60 assists or 10 or fewer turnovers in a 6-game stretch has happened 196 times. All right.
Mhm.
Here's a list of the most points scored during that stretch. And in that list, people like getting the 60 assists, 10 or fewer turnovers in a 6-game stretch. How many
Yeah.
points they scored? Number 1, Tyrese. Number 2, Tyrese. Number 3, Tyrese. Number 4, Tyrese. Number 7, Tyrese. Number 10, Tyrese. Number 11, Tyrese. Number 14, Tyrese. That I don't even know how to comprehend that, dude. Like that is because 60 and 10, because we already established the league leader in assist or turnover ratio is like 5.2. So like
Yeah.
obviously anything over like 3 or 4 is like crazy. All right.
Point guard. New point guard.
For him to
Pass the
just
torch.
like consistently just keep doing this. I mean, the top 3 in the points in that type of 6-game stretch all happened last season.
Yeah.
And then number 4 happened this season. I mean,
Pass the torch. The most efficient player in the league.
yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Who else?
Yeah.
Who
And
else?
And again, I think Tyrese is more of like a nuanced player. If you actually know ball, follow it, you realize like how good he is. But if you just kind of check the box score, it's very easy to like write him off because
Yes.
these
Well,
are
you
like
can say that
kinda
about a
like
lot of
deep things.
players.
Doing 84 assists to 8 turnovers, which is an over 10-to-1 turnover ratio. I mean, how do you even comprehend that game? 84 to 8 turnovers.
What team would
Like-
he not make better? You can put him on the worst team. I mean, they kind of did. They put us. We were like a 13 seed, whatever, and look at what we did.
Thing too that is awesome about him, but also kind of like hurts his case in like the grand scheme of like NBA or whatever. The modern point guard isn't like that true point guard. Like
100%.
the modern point guard are going for like 30 points a night type of thing. They might not get it, but they're like going for it.
Yeah.
And Tyrese is that rare NBA superstar who's like not just trying to put up as many points as he possibly can. The type of player Tyrese is doesn't really exist in the NBA. Like I feel like probably like 20 years ago, a lot more teams had a point guard who was at least trying to be like this. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But like even like when Steve Nash like won his MVP, honestly, he's probably like the closest comp of he was super efficient, got a lot of assists, 17 points like per game, like when he won
Right.
MVP. And people always like challenge that. They're like, oh, Shaq should have won. He like scored like 30, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I think there is like a real argument that that type of player makes your like team better. You know?
I think everybody. I think okay. Obviously, to the casual fan, a guy dunking and breaking the rim is fucking awesome. I love that.
It is
now.
fucking awesome. It is
It's
fucking awesome.
It's
Dude.
the coolest thing in NBA. Like, giving the MVP, Hall of Fame, walking down the red carpet. I get it, but is that pushing your team as a whole forward to the same degree as a guy like Stockton or Nash?
He's the type of star that we need. If we had a star that was one of those guys, he's like going for like 30 points. As soon as his contract is up, he wants to play in LA.
He's
You know
gone.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, West.
Yeah.
Go to the West, like everybody
Yeah.
else. Yeah. Bye.
Exactly.
Fun.
Exactly.
That's cool.